But we were back out at football practice on Saturday, and a lot of really good things happened. Again, I know I said this earlier, but shout out to all the parents that we met out there. I thought that Saturday, after coming off of a 6-day stretch, so LSU football players and team and coaches have been on the Ponderosa for 6 straight days. 6. That's tough, man. You're almost a weekend to being on the field. Season's here. You've been out there for 6. Let me say this. From an on-field perspective, I do not think that any of the players, from a physical standpoint, outside of a couple because of illness, they did not look sluggish to me. Why do I bring this up? And it's the first thing that I wrote down in my practice report after the practice was over. You didn't look sluggish after 6 straight days. The reason I write that down is, look, there's been a lot of questions about the strength and conditioning of LSU, especially after what happened in the interior of the defensive line a year ago. Maybe that's scheme, maybe it's not. But you're on day 6, and guys, it's hotter than Satan's ass out there. Trust me, we've been out there with them. It's hot as hell, and they look I think as crisp at times as they did the first day that we were out there in this 6-day run. So I just wanted to mention that, because when we talk during the season and guys might look sluggish, got 6 straight days in pads and shells and helmets, it's not easy. They've been out there working their asses off. We go into practice, and the first thing that we got to see was the punt team. And I keep bringing this up because I think it's a big deal. Blake Oschendorf had himself a day on Saturday. That is the new punter from Louisiana Tech that you got from the portal. I know earlier this week that Brian Kelly talked about potentially using 2 punters. I think he might be just using that to make sure that both guys are locked in here, because I don't know if I don't see a world where Blake Oschendorf gets most of the kicks here. Let me tell you why. On Saturday, 3 straight punts from Blake Oschendorf landed inside the 10. 3 inside of the 10. One of them landed at the 10, stopped at the 7. The other one was fielded by Aaron Anderson, and he had one that bounced out right at the 1-yard line, and it was this close from hitting the pylon. The kid he's had some shanks here and there. I can't deny that. But when it comes to being a guy that knows how to just place kicks, he has been elite. When you have somebody like that can flip field position, potentially, he averaged 47.5 yards per punt last year at Louisiana Tech. When you can do that, games start changing in your favor. You know, something that Nick Saban, and I know that, Blake, here he goes about Nick Saban. The thing that Nick Saban does not get enough credit for is the things that he did in the kicking game, specifically at punter. Now, we remember in the very beginning of his tenure at Alabama, like multiple kicks missed against you in 2011, multiple kicks missed in 2014. The last 2, 3, 4 kickers that they've had since then, though, all have either come close to having the all-time scoring record in Alabama football history or got damn near to it. The Glass kid broke it. The reason I bring that up, man, is we forget so much about just special teams and what you can do to teams when you put them in crucial situations. It's ironic because at the end of this practice, Garrett Nussmeier had to go 99 yards to win a football game, to win practice against this defense, and was stuffed. So it's not as if that when you put teams at the 7, the 5, the 1-yard line, that things don't start getting a lot better for you defensively and what you can do too. Doesn't miss upon me. After the punt game, we went into team period 1. So this is what I'm going to do from here on out. especially the scrimmage that in Tiger Stadium that's next Saturday. On these practice reports, I'm going to give you here the highlights. On the forum, AYSSnetwork.com, we're going to give you play-by-play and detail by detail. But tonight, because we have so much we have to get to, we're going to hit all the big points. So they go into a team period, 11 versus 11. The first thing that was noticed is DJ Chester was absent from practice. Now, Brian Kelly said that he was out for illness. He has no idea how the Weeks brothers practice. He has no idea how Emery Jones and Will Campbell practiced, which we'll remember that in just a minute. But that was very noticeable. Garrett Dellinger with DJ Chester out, your center, was now moved over from left guard to center, a position he played 2 years ago to start off the game or start off the season versus Florida State. But Garrett Dellinger being your second center right now, which is what he is it the thing that I think is the biggest head scratcher for me with DJ Chester being out? Let me tell you why. When you had a person out, when a player goes out, I did expect, and we actually talked about this last week, I expected outside of center that at guard or tackle, whatever position it is, that Tyree Adams was going to be the next guy that runs in there. He's going to be your sixth guy that you swing around. Kid's had an unbelievable camp. Unbelievable camp. He's looked really good. So DJ Chester out, Tyree Adams in, and this is what kind of baffled me a little. I was expecting for Emery Jones to go down to guard and that for Tyree Adams to go to right tackle. They didn't do that for majority part of camp. Emery Jones was still at right tackle and Tyree Adams was at guard. I'm sure that they have a reason for it. I'm sure. I don't know if I understand it. It is easier for you to go from the outside in, meaning it's going to be easier for Tyree Adams to go from tackle to guard than guard to tackle. Happens every time when you have a situation like that. That's just my humble opinion. It's easier to move in than out because when you're outside of tackle, you got to be very athletic. Just surprised that they didn't put Emery in there. And it would have been very fun to see Emery Jones and Will Campbell on the same side of the line of scrimmage together. We'll see if they mix and match if DJ's out again. We'll see what the season brings. I was just puzzled by that when they did that. But it started off, C.J. Daniels goes for 16 yards in the opening play. So you had a couple of runs. You had Josh Williams on a run. You had Caleb Jackson on a run. And on third down, again, Nuss to C.J. Daniels for a first down. I think that C.J. Daniels and Nuss, for whatever reason, and C.J. Daniels talked about this. So last week C.J. did, or maybe it was this week, C.J. Daniels did a sit down with the media after practice. And they said, what has it been? And they asked him, what has it been like with you coming in from Liberty, having a really good season, Biletnikoff watch list, coming to LSU? What did you do since you've been here? How's it going? How do you think your camp's going? He said, me and Garrett Nussmeier spent a lot of time together. Well, that process has certainly worked out on third down. Because in another situation this camp, where I thought these situations would be a lot of Kyron Lacy when Nuss got in trouble. Guys, these last 2 weeks, it's been C.J. Daniels all over again, every single time. So you get a couple of runs, 1 for 4, 1 for 5, and then you get a 16-yard gain by C.J. Daniels. A bootleg to Mason Taylor in the flat goes for 9 yards. Y'all, I'm telling you, man, you're not – listen to your boy. I don't know if LSU fans, based off of what they saw last year offensively, how spread out you were, how your quarterback was running, I don't know if everybody is fully ready for LSU to go 2 tight ends, 12 personnel, go under center, and run a bootleg. You are going to see that. They did it on Saturday. They're going to do it, especially when they get in the red zone. So as different as same as the same things that you're running that you did last year under Mike Denbrock, guys, you got a lot of the same base stuff from Mike Denbrock's offense. The different things that you're doing are more pro style, fitting off of what I believe and I feel is your personnel. Now, Brian Kelly spoke on Saturday and said, listen, here's our core. You want to know what we want to do? And it's something we've all talked about, and he's not wrong. He said, we're going to line up. We're going to run the football. We're going to lean on teams. We're going to take shots to guys like Chris Hilton. And when we start establishing the line of scrimmage, we're going to start tossing that hole around a little bit. Yeah, you are. And I'm still very bullish on how good you can be, the talent that you possess offensively. That's why I'm so cautious about what we're seeing defensively. But some of the things that you are going to do, the personnel that you have, like I don't want to say that you're just so deep in some positions, pause, but you are. You have to replace 2 first-round wide receivers on the outside, a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. But when you have an offensive line that's going to be that good and a running back core that I have a lot of faith in, when you can run the football, you're going to be hard to stop. Brian Kelly brought that up too. He goes, hey, man, we're 3rd and 2, and we can line up and just run it right at you, and you ain't shit you can do to stop it. Yeah, I feel pretty good about where we are. I agree with that. Be prepared. Under center, 12 personnel, bootlegs, Mason Taylor catching a lot of these early down passes in games. Don't be surprised if you start seeing that. See, Caleb Jackson for 5 on the next run, and then this is how things ended. So you got the offense moving the ball down the field, 16 yards, 9 yards, a couple of runs that go for 5. And then all of a sudden, pressure starts getting put on by Blake Baker and this LSU defense. Kylan Jackson, who's on the second-team defense. So this is on the second-team defense. I should have let off with that. In the middle of this. So after the 3rd down conversion, Blake Baker ran a whole new unit out there defensively. Like, hey, we're gonna play a lot of people. Next unit came in. They called something. So Blake Baker was on the intercom, which is why I asked Brian Kelly about Harold Perkins talking with Blake Baker on the headset. But Kylan Jackson from Zachary, Louisiana comes in, and from his free safety spot at a full dead sprint on a blitz, does not get touched, and I think ultimately on a pass called and Garrett Nussmeier sitting in the pocket, I think that Kylan Jackson would have had a clear path to the quarterback and a sack on Nussmeier. However, since he didn't hit him, and you can't hit quarterbacks in practice, we'll never truly know what would have happened. But let's just say hypothetically that Garrett Nussmeier would have gotten rid of the football because he's throwing it off of his back foot, trying to throw it out of bounds. He throws an interception. This has been at times, not all the time, at times where Nuss has struggled. If there is an area where he struggled, it has been move the ball, bad play offensively, and he throws an interception. That has been where things have been bad for him specifically. Doesn't mean that, well, Blake Garrett's just making bad plays, so is the defense that good? No, I think the defense has gotten a lot better because that defense last year, Nuss could have made a wrong move, and you're still going to give up 10 yards plus on pretty much every play if you have a cohesive offense. It's just the bad decision-making when you're moving the football that worries me. And if he can clean it up, then you're going to be fine. But it's just some boneheaded decisions. And we forget, and I forget, and this is my fault. I forget oftentimes, like, hey, man, Blake, he's going into a second start. He's going to have some of these growing pains. I forget that so easily, even though he is a fourth-year senior. You cannot have boneheaded plays like that when you're moving the football. You're past the 50. You're pushing up to the 30-yard line. You get a pick like that on a broken play, and you got a guy like P.J. Woodland when you're trying to throw it down of bounds and he comes down with the catch. I'm assuming a lot of you saw the video that we posted on Twitter in case you didn't go over there and find it. But you're trying to throw away the football and the ball gets picked and it's a turnover on downs. That's brutal. Wouldn't stop there. Kyron Lacey has to come back to the football on a bad throw by Garrett Nussmeier on a hitch route. He catches it for 5 yards. Sage Ryan, remember the name. We're going to talk about him a little bit tonight because he had a pretty good day on Saturday. Sage Ryan would come up and make the tackle. Nuss, very next play, third down. Nuss is sacked by Savion Jones. I don't know what, because I couldn't get my eyes on it completely from a aerial view. I have no idea what blitz they sent. No clue. I have no clue what kind of twist it was because they sent the house. Third down, everybody and their mama, they threw the whole kitchen sink at Garrett Nussmeier. He has no time, zero time in the pocket. He gets sacked because he's flushed a little bit up into the pocket. Savion Jones gets the sack. The only thing that I would say in some of these third down situations where Nussmeier has been sacked, because they're sending more players than you have in the block, right? Like the entire starting unit along this offensive line is standing up strong. But when you have that many guys that are being sent, I think they sent 6 or 7. They they went all out on Nussmeier, and he makes a bad decision. He gets sacked. I mean, no, it'd be 6 because 2 from the outside did like a little twist with defensive ends. I mean, man, I would be wrong if I told you I know the exact amount. Regardless, Nuss got sacked on third down. That was the end of the team period. So, look, common theme. Offense wins 6, defense wins 5. It's something that's going to translate in the second team period because the defense won 5 and the offense won 6. You're as 50-50 on plays that are being won than anything. So, very balanced on how this camp is going. That could be either a really good thing or a really bad thing. God, I hope it's a really good thing. We go to 7-on-7. So three big things that stood out to me in 7-on-7 is that to start it off, Chris Hilton ran a corner route, which to the pylon. If you don't know what a corner route is, a straight, then you go to the corner. Clearly, it's in the name. Runs a corner route. Bad call by Blake Baker. You got man-to-man coverage with 5 wide receivers, and Major Burns is covering an inside slot. Chris Hilton. I mean, guys, listen, that's a mismatch. You could say, oh, there goes Major Burns again. I don't give 2 shits. You can't have Major Burns, a safety, on the fastest wide receiver on the field. Arguably, if not the fastest player on your team. You can't have that happen. So, 25-yard corner, Chris Hilton beats Major Burns. Anderson in the flat. Sage Ryan gets a tackle. Man, I tell you what, a lot has been made of Sage Ryan and his history at LSU. What I do know is that he's had moments in this camp, man, very good moments. I wonder if being in a full-time position at the boundary, doing what he's been doing, does that help him? The dude is athletic as hell. The kid can play if you just put him on an island, athlete for athlete. Man, he's been solid this entire camp. You have a speedy wide receiver. He's coming from 10 yards out. He reads the play on Aaron Anderson. he comes up from the corner spot and makes a tackle for 1 yard. He just, for me on Saturday, continued to stand out, continue to make plays. And this is another, we talked about this on Thursday. You know why it stands out? Sage Ryan stands out to me is because last year, man, you were not coming up from the DB, from any of these DBs. None of these corners, when a play on the outside, like if you throw a ball in the flat, we wouldn't see these DBs flying up trying to make a tackle. We were so passive in what we were doing. Didn't happen for Sage Ryan on Saturday. The last scrimmage 2 weeks ago, a week ago, actually, that we were at. So not yesterday, but the week ago, you let off a 11-on-11 period in your scrimmage where Sage Ryan has a PBU on Garrett Nussmeier, man-to-man coverage with Kyron Lacy on a fade route. He would come back later in the scrimmage and he would make a critical tackle on third down. I just really hope for a guy that's been here a long time. Because, guys, Sage Ryan could have left a long time ago. Guys, he's been here through a lot of our shit. Love him, hate him, think he can play, think he can't play. That's for you to decide. I want you to decide that and make your own opinion. Here's what I know. He's made plays this camp, and it hasn't gone unnoticed to me. So Sage Ryan with a big tackle. Kyron Lacy has been in the slot a lot, something that I've mentioned to talk about. They like his size, pause, in the slot, and they've been utilizing him a lot. I think they've put him there too because he's a really good blocker. Really good. People laugh at me when I say this. They laugh at me when I say that Kyron Lacy comes in and blocks really well. Guys, when you have guys that will block on the edge and speed like you're going to get from Caleb Jackson, want to know why Caleb Jackson has been able to get to some of these outside runs this camp and turn it up and get it? It's because Kyron Lacy's in the slot cracking down on dudes. And it hasn't looked pretty at times for guys like Major Burns, who has been fighting with Kyron Lacy all camp long, and they've been getting after it. Kyron in the slot catches a slant for 15. Boomer bust, man, because I think the kid can play. And I think he's continuously showing some of the skills that he has. Got to make sure you catch the football. For what it's worth, this might happen week 1. Listen to your boy. This might happen week 1. I'm not saying it won't. There's a strong possibility it may happen. I have not seen Kyron Lacy in a situation where he's dropping passes. I haven't. If that is the Kyron Lacy that you're getting, the reliable one, it's going to look really good. Let's move to O-line, D-line, period. So O-line versus D-line. Brian Kelly talked about DJ Chester out with an illness, has no idea why Emery Jones practiced, has no idea how Will Campbell and the Weeks brothers practiced. There's some type of stomach bug going on in the O-line room. And I say that to say because you have Emery Jones that gives up a sack to Savion Jones and pass pro on one-on-ones. It is what it is. You also have a coach who's saying, man, Emery Jones is pretty sick, but he still was out there practicing. Call it what you will. Call it, kids out there battling. Savion Jones out there battling too, man. He's out there battling too. Will Campbell. I saw Will at the end of practice. If that man is sick, somebody forgot, I don't know. Dude looked really healthy. He was out there cracking, looked fine. Braden Swinson is someone that we all need to have a conversation with about. I just don't know if we're going to be able to get to it tonight. Braden Swinson was out for the first 10 days because he was trying to graduate, which he did graduate. Congratulations to him. But a young man that graduated and was out for 10 days has come in and looked really good. him and Will Campbell got the first rep on one another. And Braden Swinson hit him with an inside spin move. It was sick, man. It was nice. It was really nice. You know, Brian Kelly has brought up Kevin Peoples. You know, he was asked on Wednesday, you know, why do you think that your edge rushers are doing as good as they're doing? I mean, they've been putting pressure on all camp. And look, it's not necessarily that they're beating Will and Emery, but some of the creative stuff that Blake Baker has done has freed them up just from a schematical standpoint. And before, I think it was Luke Hubbard who asked a question, before the question could be even done with, he goes, Kevin Peoples. He goes, bro, the tactitional stuff that he's done, like, and which is true, I never saw Braden Swinson hit a spin move. I ain't seen any D lineman or any edge rusher in the 2 years that we've been here hit a little and do a Dwight Freeney spin move. Braden's been good, man. And you know what else he's been really good into? The run game. Him and Will have had some bad. Look, now listen. Will has won a fair share of his reps. Can't deny that, won't deny that, not even coming close to denying that. What I will say is that ain't nobody winning them reps of late. Kind of a stalemate. Will Campbell, the last 2 years, every single day has gone up against a guy like Braden Swinson. That has made Swinson better. Please, dear Lord, translate that over to the actual games. Please, Lord. Please, dear Jesus. All right, let's run the team period 2. I have some people in my ear here. Do we have some super chats? No? Okay. If we do, we'll get to them in just a moment. In just a moment. Let's go to team period 2. So they go to goal line again. So if you remember on Wednesday, we were out there practice as well, and they went to goal line, and that was the day that you and I had a conversation about your defensive line and your front seven and your linebackers and safeties came up with 4 straight plays and made a stand. Now, they did leave out a really big run, okay, and Josh Williams busted one to the outside and scored. They went to it again today. I have no idea what Blake Baker is throwing at Nuss. I can't necessarily tell from my vantage point of schematically, like on the board, how it looks. This is what I can tell you. The exotic shit that they've ran this camp has been unbelievable. And you know what? Everybody's been where they needed to be at the exact time. Again, if that doesn't translate, then I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing then. Somebody's going to clip that when we get beat by USC and say, yeah, you don't know what you're doing. If we get beat by USC. First play from goal line, they confused the dog shit out of Garrett Nussmeier, which tells me that they were going to throw the football and they couldn't. Nuss has to call a timeout because of some confusion. They come out of the second team period or the scrimmage type part of period of camp. First play action. They try to run a little bubble screen to the outside to Savion Thomas. Almost got pick sixed. Remember that guy Sage Ryan I was telling you about? He got too close for comfort. If Savion Thomas would not have batted down the ball, Sage Ryan on the first official play from scrimmage would have had a pick six, and that's how the day would have started. Bad decision. Very bad decision. Second play on second down, JVR Suggs is in the game. He shoots through the gap on Garrett Dellinger, was just to the gap quicker than Delly could get there. Breaks through the line, tackle for loss on Caleb Jackson. And then on fourth down, they'd hit a play action to Kamari and Penton in the back of the end zone. Highly competitive. You went 2-2. Can't give it up on fourth down. I get it. But Kamari and Pimpton, guys, y'all seen it. We've posted all this stuff on our social medias. Kamari and Pimpton in the red zone's a problem. He's been a problem for every single player this camp. He's been a problem for every single person that's gone up against him in the red zone. It's been in individual drills. It's been on 7-on-7. It's been in team periods. They have found ways to get him the football, and it has been undeniable. Throw 88 the football in the red zone, see what happens. God forbid you leave him one-on-one, by the way. To USC, Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma. Leave him one. Hey, the kid can't catch the football. Leave him one-on-one. Kid can't catch a cold, buck-ass nude in a snowstorm in Antarctica. Leave him one-on-one. LSU fans, don't tell anybody. He's going to moss someone. It's just what's going to happen. All right. Caleb Jackson gets a carry out the middle, touchdown, pop pass to Zay Thomas, and Emery run, no gain. Jackson run, no gain. Emery in the flat, touchdown. Offense wins 6. Defense wins 5 in the red zone. They come back out on a 99-yard drive, so Nuss has to complete a 99-yard drive. He's in his own goal line. He goes 3 and out, and you have to punt. 2 runs, 1 bad throw to Kyron Lacey. By the way, Ashton Stamps on the PBU on that one. 1st and 10 from the 1-yard line. On your own yard line, got to punt it away. Ricky Collins would lead the team down for a score and the only touchdown in the team 1-on-1 period, or team 11-on-11 period. So outside of the goal line, I mean. Nuss had a couple of really good throws, a couple of really bad throws in the goal line. Is what it is, man.